Hey everybody, Doug Reynolds here, Sacramento area realtor. Today I just want to talk real quick about something that's going on in the Sacramento market, which is flipped properties. Investors are buying properties that are in poor condition, whether they're buying a foreclosure or they're getting them at auction. They're getting them for cheap. They put some money into it, fix it up real quickly, and then they put it on the market and sell it. So they're out there. There's a lot of them available. So there's some things I wanted to talk about if you're a potential buyer of a flipped property. First off is history. What's the history of the house? A lot of times your real estate agent, they can go back in the MLS and they can pull up the history. Sometimes it was listed as a short sale before it got foreclosed on. So you can go and look at the pictures, see what the property looked like before it was fixed up. Also, you want to check, when was the property purchased by the investor that flipped this house? If it was a few months ago, then okay, they took some time to get the remodel done and everything. But if they bought it and they closed 2 weeks ago and now it's already on the market, you might want to be a little bit more cautious because they really slapped that remodel together. You check out the tax record, you'll be able to find out how much they got it for, when they got it, all those things like that. So the history is pretty important. Check with your real estate agent. They should be able to dig something up there with the history of it. Second is condition. You want to get a really, really good home inspection on the property. A lot of times the investors, they start doing work and they start finding out problems that they didn't know were there, so it starts cutting into their profit margin, so they start cutting corners in other areas. So you want to be really careful. Make sure the house, you get inspected really well by a qualified home inspector, because a lot of times there's maybe questionable work done, maybe it wasn't done right, or they cut corners and did it fast and just did not do a good job. So home inspector will be able to catch a lot of those things, saying, ooh, I don't like the way the plumbing's done here, or there's a little bit electrical was done kind of spotty here, things like that. So get a really good home inspection. Also, going along with the home inspection, you want to, during escrow, you want to find out, okay, was this done by a contractor or a handyman? Was it done with permits or without permits? Try and find out all this information. A lot of times, usually work is done without permits. Permits cost a little bit of money, and that cuts into the investor's profit margin, and so they typically do the work without permits. Not to say that that's bad or wrong, if they weren't done without permits, you want to just make sure you have a little bit closer eye on things. The third thing that's really important, get a home warranty. Typically in our area, you can get a seller to pay for a home warranty for the first year for you, but if they're just not willing to do a home warranty, pay for one yourself. It's incredible how many of these flip properties, they've been vacant for a really long time, how often my buyer clients need to end up using the home warranty after we close escrow. Even though they have the house checked out, the house has not been lived in. So the home inspector, they run everything, they test everything, but it's much different than once you start living in the property. A lot of times, maybe the sewer gets backed up just because the plumbing has not been used regularly on a regular basis. So you need to call that home warranty company, have a plumber come out, flush it out, do everything like that. The air conditioning, it might work at the time of the inspection, but once you get in there and actually using it every day, all day kind of thing, it might kind of slowly wear down. You got to call the home warranty company. So check out the history, have a really good home inspection, and get a home warranty on these flip properties, okay? But it's not to say that flip properties are bad. You just need to make sure you're looking for the right things, investigating the right things to make sure you're going to be getting a good property that was done well. Otherwise, if you do things correctly, you might find out that things maybe weren't done quite as good as you had hoped. Maybe it looks good, but it wasn't done well. You might need to cancel and find another property or something. So here's an example. I'm out at a property in College Greens, real close to my house, actually, in my neighborhood, College Greens. Here's an example. This is something that this house right here, it's gonna get flipped eventually. As you can see, the roof has major issues, so they've covered it with a tarp, and the city's actually come along and they have flagged this property. You can see this sign right here. It says, "Dangerous building, do not enter, unsafe to occupy." I don't know if you can see in there, but it's in very poor condition. This house has been neglected, and eventually, whether an investor buys this thing at auction or if they pick it up at foreclosure, they're going to get it for very cheap. This house is in very poor condition, and an investor's going to buy it. They're going to come through and they're going to make some repairs, but they're looking to make a profit. So you've got to be careful when you're looking at these flips. Just make sure things were done well, get yourself covered, and you'll be all good. So just to recap, flips aren't necessarily real bad. They're not real bad. You just got to make sure you do the right things to cover yourself when you're looking at flips, because I've had a lot of clients buy flip properties and they absolutely love them, and the person doing the work on the property, they did a good job. So anyways, that's my info for the day on flip properties. Hope to hear from you. Take care.